Hi guys, welcome to Tanked Up. We drink craft beer, we talk about video games, weekly or otherwise, quite possibly. I'm Ben Nother, I'm joined by Aadil Koji.
Hello!
Hey,
quick question. When
Yes.
you say we talk about video games weekly, are you saying that we aren't that great at it?
Yeah, we don't talk about them strongly.
No.
Just ill-informed comments about games we've never played.
Well, sometimes. Sometimes apparently we don't do that.
Sometimes we do play some games and talk about them. This week, as with every week, we're going to talk about the games we've been playing. We're going to drink some very exciting and hopefully excellent beers. And we're, at the end of the podcast, going to chat a little bit about the topic this week, which will be just a couple of our impressions from Microsoft's Gamescom 2015 conference as it happened earlier today. So we're very well placed to chat about it. But first, I suppose we shall crack into some beers. What are you drinking first, Aadil?
I'm drinking the Hop City Barking Squirrel Lager.
Nice.
Which is... I just found out, actually, that apparently Hop City is a secret non-microbrewery. It's actually run by... or I was told it's run by Moosehead, which is a much bigger... in the East, it's one of the big breweries.
Yeah, I've heard of Moosehead.
Moosehead, yeah. So this is so their Hop City Brewing is their like competition for microbrews, sort of have an indie label.
Okay.
Like Touchstone or Miramax being actually part of Disney or something like that. I can't remember which one it is, but
Yeah, I know what you mean. Nice. Well, I've got a sort of a similar beer actually, but it won't be the one I drink first. I've got a Meantime London Pale Ale.
Oh.
And they've just been bought by Sab Miller, which me and Alex spoke about on a podcast a few episodes ago. But they're a small London craft brewery that have been bought out by a much larger brewery corporation. But the first beer I'm going to drink is a Camden Hell's Lager. So I thought I'd start on something a little lighter this week than the normal ales that we drink.
Yeah, I mean, the Barking Squirrel is a lager as well. It's for Alex's sake, I will read the description from Barking Squirrel Lager. It's 24 IBU amber lager brewed with a blend of Hallertau, Mittelfrüh, and Saaz hops, perfectly balanced by Canadian Pale 2-row Crystal and Munich malts.
Nice. Well, I can tell you that the Camden Hells, the malt is Pilsner.
Okay.
And the hops are Pearl and Hallertauer, which I may not be saying correctly.
That's the one I tried to say.
Hallertauer, perhaps?
Hallertau?
Hallertau?
It's T-A-U, right?
I've got T-A-U-E-R.
Oh.
My bottle. Ooh, a little bit different.
This is what the podcast is like without our resident beer expert.
Exactly. He goes away for a week and we've got no idea what we're talking about. We just enjoy drinking beer instead. Oh, this Camden House is, I suppose, as you would expect, it smells like a Pilsner normally does. It's very light in colour. Quite carbonated. Not hugely, but actually taste is quite flat. Doesn't sort of come across very carbonated at all in the taste, but it's quite a level, very nice Pilsner. That's good.
Excellent. The lager is on the nose quite sweet. Not really strong, but just sort of a nice malty sweetness is pretty much all the nose has. I, the barbarian that I am, forgot to grab a mug, so its coloration is pretty brown in the brown bottle.
A good brown bottle, which means it's probably not oxidized as much if it's in something else, but
yeah. Wow. The nose was more subtle than the taste. The taste is
Okay.
kind of a lingering bitterness.
Nice.
It just tastes kind of like a more malty than you're used to lager. Like, you know, that lager pep that it's sort of, is it inherent? It's not there. A little more malty. It kind of reminds me a little of some of the red ales we've had. I think there's some of that taste. I don't know where that's from. Probably one of the hops. But considering how many things they claim are in it, it's sort of, I was expecting more layers.
Okay. Maybe they'll develop over time.
I mean, yeah, like I said, I like it. It's just,
Yeah.
it leaves you flat, I guess.
Okay.
It's not flat, but
yeah. Hopefully it will, as I said, hopefully it will develop over a little bit of time. Why don't you kick us off with one of the games that you've been playing this week?
sure. What have I been playing? I have, now that I'm getting more settled, I have been binging in the horrible way of like just, oh, what about this game? And this game. So I haven't been playing a lot consistently.
Okay.
Two games probably I have the most are Torchlight, three. Torchlight, Retro City Rampage, and I went back to Antichamber.
Nice.
So I think we can start with Torchlight.
Sure. I mean, that's the one game that I haven't. I've heard of it, but it's the one game that I haven't played.
It's
out of the ones that you showed.
Fair enough. It's dungeon crawler style. Really pretty, cartoony. Dungeon crawler. So it's definitely in the wake of your Diablos and your MMOs, where you have a hot bar, and it's mostly mouse driven for running. Okay. It's the one thing that's a little weird.
Like Marvel Heroes.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, it. No, I'm confusing my games. No, it is. It's a WASD game. I don't know what I was talking about.
Okay.
And you start with one of three classes. Your barbarian warrior, your thiefy rangery, and then your magey person, magey alchemisty person. The world is really neat. It's sort of got a slight steampunk vibe to it. For a fantasy game, like the Magi guy's bio is that he's sort of like an alchemist, and he's got steampunk-style goggles and this little thumbnail photo plate, yeah. It's really, it's fun. Combat, I wish I had started on hard or harder, because the normal levels, like, I don't know how you could possibly die.
Really?
Yeah, like, even with my spell under-leveled, because I just, like, my main spell I leveled twice in 9 levels, and I'm still two-shotting things, and one of the ones I got as a drop does more damage than it anyway, and wands are single-hand, and you can dual-wield. So, I just, last session I played, I got another even stronger wand, so now I have the one that was doing all the damage I needed to, so I didn't really need to use my spell, plus one that does 1.5 times that damage.
Nice.
So, and what's kind of neat, though, is you get a pet. It's a ferret, a dog, or a cat.
Okay. You've obviously gone with the ferret, just because it's the most...
No, I went with a cat, actually. I was curious. I figured I'd go with cat, and then I'd have a thief with a ferret. I'm a mage character right now.
Good choice. Yeah.
Because those are usually I almost never play the warrior character when given the chance. I think part of that is because it's sort of the default in most games, so when given the choice, why would I not take a choice? Does that make sense?
Sure, I mean, like, within a lot of games, often the sort of the tank character and the sort of the DPS characters come across as very simple to operate. And they come across almost as the very easy sort of base level characters to be able to use. And like you, I normally, if I'm playing a game where you have the option to pick a different kind of character, I try and go for a little bit more of a difficult experience, I suppose, to try and get, maybe to try and get something a little more out of the game than just running around hacking things with a sword and running up to the next thing. You want a little bit of strategy within these kinds of games as well. But is it, so you sort of say it's comparable to something like Diablo. Is it very much loot-driven?
Yeah, loot-driven. You pick up loot. Well, one of the nice things about your pet is it has the same size inventory as you. And you can fill it with your trash and then send it to town. And it disappears for a while and comes back with the money for all that crap. So you don't actually have to leave.
Pretty trusting of your pet.
Then you just lose its fighting power, which I think is okay. And you can get like stats that will reduce its time to run to town and stuff.
Yeah. So it fights alongside you as well?
Yeah, it's just like it's permanently by your side and attack. You can put it in, it's just like in Warcraft, World of Warcraft. You can put it in aggressive, defensive, or neutral mode. And because the game is right now so easy, I just leave it in aggressive, and a lot of the lower characters just seem to die before I can get to them. Like the cat runs off while I'm, oh look, over there's a chest. I get the chest, come back, and there's a bunch of dead guys. I'm like, so I think I'll probably start the Thief character on hard or extra hard, and just see how that goes, because it's it's a little flat gameplay wise. And I'm in the early levels, and like you come to the town of Torchlight, and there's a mine, and so I've fought through the mine and done some like the plot and a couple side quests, and they've revealed that there's a necropolis underneath the mine, and the necropolis, it looks like the difficulty level has jumped. So hopefully that'll be the case, because in my mage character, I went not knowing how strong the pets were. I went sort of to the lore, which is pets. So now sometimes when mobs die, they leave their corpses stay around, and I have a spell which when I activate it, up to 2 corpses will turn into little imp minions.
Nice.
So now, after playing for a bit, I have 3 pets which just sort of run off, usually in the same direction, but sometimes the AI is a little spotty and they have tracking problems. And then when they track a wrong way, they take a different turn and start attacking other things, which if the game wasn't so easy, I'd be way more frustrated, I think. But right now, they're killing the things over there for me. So they're not drawing aggro, dying, and then sending it to me.
Yeah, you can just stroll through the dungeon, picking up the loot as you go, as your minions just disappear and destroy everything. The
2 things that are sort of interesting quirks are you start with 2 types of scrolls, and you can buy those from the vendors. One's a town portal scroll, which means you can at any point drop a portal, go to town, up your gear or enchant it or whatever, which I haven't even looked at enchanting, and then go right back to wherever you laid the portal. So they have checkpoints, but there's also like an immediacy of like, oh, I can just stop and go back, which if MMOs had that'd be so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose that's one of the big things with MMOs and a lot of games that have these kinds of mechanics in them or inventory management, is that something like The Witcher 3 as well, you've constantly got to go back to town because you hit your weight or your bag is full, and you're almost a constant back and forth to try and be able to flog stuff for money that, in a lot of these games, you don't really need, because stuff doesn't scale with the amount of loot that you're getting and the money that you're getting and stuff. So with a lot of it does seem quite arbitrary, but it's quite nice that you can sort of down tools as such, disappear to town, flog everything, and come back where you left off.
Yeah, I think I really like the weight concept, like the way Skyrim does it as well, because it always pissed me off that like holding 5 flowers is the same as holding 5 giant battle axes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean Skyrim, there was really no point in carrying loot, because you could just steal. You could just steal a lot. Right near, just rob a couple places near the vendor, and you'd probably get enough stuff to buy whatever you wanted.
Yeah,
loot notwithstanding.
Yeah. It's very true. I mean, economy and things like that are something that some games don't really quite get on top of, and it's almost a secondary sort of thought. Not saying it was a secondary thought with, Torchlight or Skyrim or any of these sort of games, but it doesn't quite seem as if they've put as much development into that as they have into some of the other systems.
Well, I think that's one of the crafting in MMOs is like the reason why you have stable economies, and without that, like, it just having item drops needed by people so that people, like the invisible hand, will just work, and the devs don't have to really try and balance things, because the market will literally find a balance some way. And if it's really unbalanced, they can step in. Without that, when it's just vendors buying crap, it's much harder to sort of make money matter. Because, like you said, it's really hard to scale.
Definitely.
And some games have it where the tougher areas, things are more expensive. But then, I can see it being really tough. I'd be curious to what a developer would say to that, actually.
Nice. So, would you, with Torchlight, would you play it over something like Diablo? Is it a better game, perhaps, or is it a different game?
I think it's a different game. I mean, so far there's not a lot of strategy. It seems, and because it's a save anywhere as well. Like, you just quit the game and it starts you wherever you were.
Okay.
So it feels a little more Twitch and a little more casual, which explains why regular difficulty is so easy. But it's still fun. I haven't actually looked into its multiplayer capabilities, but that'd be fun.
Did you play this? So this is through Steam?
Yeah, it is a Steam game, but I got it on a good old games for pennies at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a Steam game. As is Torchlight 2.
A PC game, I suppose we should say, not a Steam game as such.
Yeah, I don't know if it's out for any of the consoles, to be honest. Oh yeah, it came out on the Xbox, apparently.
Okay.
And then Torchlight 2 came out recently as well.
Well, maybe that's why I'd heard of it, because following a lot of things more recently, maybe I'd heard of the second one coming out. So I think I've got a couple of friends who, you go on Steam occasionally and someone is playing it, but it's never really been one that I've
recently
felt the need to jump into.
It came out in 2012, while the original came out in 2009. It came out on Macs and Linux this year, which is why it popped up on my Steam, I think. As a new game, because I use a MacBook Air as my daily laptop.
Yeah.
That's probably why I thought it was newer than it is. But both of them have gotten pretty good reviews. I'd like to go a little further, but right now it's just sort of a dungeon crawler.
Yeah. But it's nice to know that the developer, at least, although the publisher may have got someone else to do it, but it's still being supported as such and has been ported over to Macs, very recently, to branch out to a bigger group of people as well. It's nice to see sort of games being updated and being broadened to bigger groups of people. Yeah.
The thing I will say is I've lost it. Totally don't remember what I was going to say.
The beer has affected you already.
My 4 sips.
Exactly. Well, if that's the case, perhaps I shall jump to the game that I've been playing most over the last sort of week or so, which I thought, as it's just me and you, I'd also bring back free game of the week.
Ooh, exciting.
And the game that I've been playing is a game from about 2000, it's before that, it's from about 1996.
Ooh, that's exciting.
And it's called Transport Tycoon Deluxe.
Ooh.
It was a game by Microprose.
Who did a lot of those.
Yeah. But this version of the game is open source.
Oh.
So you can just search for Open TTD, Open Transport Tycoon Deluxe, and it's a free version of the game. Very small file size. You'll have it almost instantly to be able to play. And basically, you own a transport company, and you have to build transport links between various randomly generated towns across the landscape. It's very slow. It's very relaxing. There's no immediacy to it whatsoever. It's one of those games that you can come home, stick it on, go and make some dinner and allow it to just tick over whilst you do that, come back to find you've made, 100,000 and you can then build another railway between a few closer towns. It's nice in some of the mechanics that it has to drive the game forward, so you get different subsidies. One town wants you to get passengers to another town, so all of the players rush to then, or at least you and the AI rush to get passengers, be the first person to get that, because a subsidy then brings in 2 or 4 times the normal income that it would do. Right. You can plunge money into towns, you can build new buildings for them, build new roads for them, so you can expand different towns, so you can create your own even small transport empire just between 5 or 6 towns rather than having to go across the whole map.
Oh, cool.
You've also got various industries which you then move goods and resources between, so you can ferry or train or lorry timber to a sawmill. It produces goods, you take that to the town also then grows, which then gives you more passengers within the town. And it's very nice. It's sort of systems upon systems upon systems, all working together based upon how you build your transport network. And almost everything you do can benefit something else. And for a free game, it's as I said, it's an open source game. It was built on, I'm not sure whether it was built from scratch, but it was built to emulate the original game with a few extra features from the original game from '96. So graphically, not fantastic, but it doesn't need to be. It's sort of like an isometric view map.
Standard Tycoon style.
Exactly. But just to be able to sort of sit here and lord it up over the other transport empires on your map and know that you are king of buses is
the Bus King versus Bus King.
Quite a satisfying thought, really. / slightly sad thought to know that I'm sat here on my evening thinking, I am the king of buses, yes.
So if you win, you are Bus King, and if you lose, you are Busking?
Exactly. You just got to go on the street with your guitar, pretend like you can play and sing, try and get a little bit of change. Probably outside the bus station.
Yeah.
So it comes full circle.
That actually sounds like the game that City Skyline Company came out with before.
Yep, I'm trying to think of their name, and I can't. It's Paradox Interactive who published it. I can't think who the developer is. Cities in Motion?
Yes. XXL.
Yes. Sort of a city builder based upon sort of the transport systems and networks.
And apparently, secretly, our friends over at 3 Moves Ahead were talking about City Skyline a few episodes ago. Probably a month or 2 back. And they revealed that essentially City Skylines boils down to a transport simulator because almost all problems are solved by your roads being in good kit and access being in the right way.
Yeah, I think that was almost the same with SimCity when it was rebooted as such. I suppose it's SimCity 5, isn't it? But
you mean SimCity trademark?
Yeah. When it came out a couple of years ago, it was all about having your roads in good condition, having the right sized roads to be able to move people and services and things about them and stuff.
Which is a large part of urban planning anyway. Like, I mean,
completely.
You can't get away from it. It's just, I thought it was pretty entertaining that Cities in Motion was kind of a flop. Like, didn't really work with the public, but City Skylines sounds like they're just making a lot of money on it. A lot of people are enjoying it, and it's basically, why don't we just call it Skylines, make prettier buildings, and essentially do the same thing in the actual game mechanic ways. Like, you still really need to figure out roads.
Yeah, definitely. City Skylines was one of the games that I was really looking forward to, but loads of other sort of games have got in the way as such of me being able to play it, and I've been waiting for it to drop in price a little bit to be able to pick it up. But it always seems to. I know it was in a sale not that long ago, but it seems to retain has retained its price quite well since its release. Like, it never seems to drop too much. So I might just have to take the plunge at some point and just front up the cash for it. You know, if it's a good game, then why shouldn't I do that? They probably deserve that money.
Deserve is a strong claim, sir.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, I don't remember how much the sale was. But I can tell you, through the magic of the internet, that the lowest price it's ever been... Oh, yeah, 17 bucks.
Yeah, I think over here it's about 22, 23 pounds, and I think on sale it went down to about 16, something like that. But when it was on sale, I wasn't here, so I'd actually missed it. So I just have to wait till the next one.
Right now you can get it for $24 through Green Man Gaming and their current 20% off coupon. Nice. I don't know if you have this extension, Enhanced Steam extension for your browser.
No, I don't. No.
Oh, this is a good thing for all you Steam addicts, PC gamers out there. I used to always go through Steam using the Steam app, etc. But these very clever people have made the Enhanced Steam extension. And basically on Steam, it overlays everything. You pick your currency. And on all of the pages, it tells you... First of all, it puts a little globe icon next to the price, and it'll actually tell you what based on current exchange rates, what the price is in other countries.
Nice.
And also, it tells you the current lowest price, pulling like legitimate sources like Green Man Gaming, who are official reseller.
Yeah.
But like I said, it tells me that it's $23.99 in Green Man Gaming, and it gives me the coupon code.
Nice. That's quality.
And it also tells you the historic lowest price and when it was. And then if you click on info or whatever, it'll take you to istthereanydeal.com, which is another website which tracks all the Steam sales and stuff. And it gives you, well, like istthereanydeal.com is also great because it gives you when the last sale was, the highest cut, the lowest price, and it shows you over the past, I think it's 6 months, how much the price has fluctuated.
Yeah.
And then so it'll literally tell you, like, oh, this game almost goes on sale quite a bit, or like it's only been on sale once before in the past 6 months, so this sale's probably worth it, even though it's not quite as good as the last sale.
Oh, that's quality. I'll have to jump into that, definitely.
Yeah, so istthereanydeal.com is just a very busy website, but you get for the average person, I think you should definitely, if you use Steam, have the Enhanced Steam extension, because it just lets you know, like, oh, first of all, it's cheaper on this other site. Or, it looks like the Deluxe Edition. Oh, interesting. So, Green Man Gaming has a regular edition for $23.99, and Games Planet UK has the Deluxe Edition for $23.39. So it's actually cheaper somewhere on the internet to get the Deluxe Edition.
Nice. That seems like a very fucking useful tool.
Yes. I think that's a good proof of concept. Also, Games Planet UK is probably something that you should look at.
Yeah, that's not a site I've used either.
I didn't know about it either. I don't actually know what's in the Deluxe Edition, to be honest. I lose track.
Oh, well, you get like a soundtrack or a few different skins for buildings, perhaps.
I'm sorry, I'm just surfing the net now, narrating it apparently on this podcast. But you get the soundtrack, the art book, and you also get in-game items such that you can build the Eiffel Tower, Ground Central Station, Statue of Liberty, Brandenburg Gate, and the Arc de Triomphe.
Nice. Notable buildings, or notable structures, I should say. Not all of those are buildings.
But if that interests you, you can get them for 60 cents less than not getting them. Anyway.
Nice.
So that's my how to get addicted to buying Steam games tip. is...
How to get addicted very easily to buying Steam games tip.
Yeah, so that's 3 websites I've mentioned today, actually. I have a problem. Bundle Stars. Oh, I mentioned Bundle Stars to you off air. That's right. Bundle Stars is a thing.
So the next game that you've been playing?
Yeah. What was the next game I've been playing? Retro City Rampage DX.
Yes.
Which you've played as well, right?
I played the original. I've not played the version that you've got, but I played the original when it was on... what was it on? PlayStation 1?
Yeah, I think... Was it that old?
I think so. I don't think it's a PS2 game. I'm sure it's a PS1 game. It's where you come along and school me with your knowledge.
By that, you mean... No, it came out in 2012, sir. You sure you're thinking about the same game?
What game am I thinking about then? Describe the game you've been playing.
It's basically... It looks like... it's basically a tongue-in-cheek GTA 1 clone.
Okay, it's not what I was thinking of.
It's a lot busier because, of course, computers can handle a lot. But it's essentially if GTA 1 was a bunch of not quite accurate for copyright reason pop culture references layered on layered. Yeah. Like in the beginning mission, I got the attention of the cops, and so the Ninja Turtles came after me. Then I think of the A-Team. Then I stole the TARDIS, but then ran into Doc Brown, who sent me on a mission. And then that mission led me to basically Solid Snake sending me to infiltrate stealthily an army base.
Oh, this sounds fucking awesome.
Oh, it is. It is. I might say it's it's easily in my top open world games, and it's a GTA 1 clone. And it's pixelated.
What have you been playing it on?
I've been playing it on the wall, on my PC. It came out for PS3, Vita, Xbox Live, Windows, and apparently there's a 3DS version, which was the 3DS was the DX version. I don't know what was actually enhanced.
Deluxe, you would imagine DX stands for.
But I just don't know what matters. But yeah, basically, actually, I don't think it's Doctor Who. I think the time-traveling telephone booth might be that you steal, which is like the plot point. I think it might be more of a Bill and Ted's reference, given what it looks like. But yeah, you basically need to fix the telephone booth, and Doc Chalk, that's Doc Chalk Brown, he tells you all the pieces you need to collect, etc. It's really fun. It's got one of the problems with the original GTA was it sort of was sluggish in response.
Yep.
It's very tight. The driving, even though it's still that basically 8 degrees of movement, like you either go forward, diagonal, up, diagonal, top left, etc. But you can still pull a lot more tight maneuvers around things just because it's responsive. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite features of this game is probably that in the setup, you can pick what screen you're playing it on. And it's basically you're in a frame of a monitor or a television when you're playing the game. So it's like you're playing it on an old school monitor.
Nice.
And like including like the old school. I play it with a twist knob TV. But if you pick the depending on what screen you pick, it'll change what color options are available. So if you pick an old enough screen, it's in monochrome or it's in EGA. A lot of thought was put into like the retro part. It's not only retro references, but it's like solidly like they care and they put a lot of effort into the stupidest things. Really,
yeah, that's nice though, man. It's nice to know that they've taken the time to put in all the little details as well as all of the details on gameplay and things like that. It's nice to have all of those extras and actually feel immersed in what they're trying to do in sort of the story that they're trying to tell.
Yeah, It even has one of your fight moves that you learn from Solid Snake is in order to one of the best ways to deal with guys who have guns and they're shooting at you is to jump over the bullet and then Mario stomp them.
Nice.
You do a lot of damage stomping on people's heads. And you have to get the timing right, and it's a little different from Mario. You have to hit the stomp button, and you'll go wherever you are in midair, you'll just plummet, and you'll do damage to them. But yeah, it's just solid. It's a fun fucking game.
That's quality, man.
Yeah. I don't even know how much it is. I got it on sale a long time ago, but I hadn't played it in a while. It's fully 8-bit, but because of it's fairly detailed. Even though, just because people have been doing good 8-bit art for a long time now. Ooh, it's $10.99 right now.
On Steam.
On Steam, yeah. It often goes on sale, though, which you can check on that website that I mentioned earlier in the stuff.
Nice. Good.
But yeah, that gets a high recommendation from me. It's been a long time since I've had that much fun with a game.
Cool. Excellent. Well, I think that drags me, at least, to opening up another beer.
Oh. Okay.
As I've hammered through this Camden Hells, because it's really nice.
While you open your beer, I'll say that this Barking Squirrel, especially considering they called it Hop City, there's just not a lot of hoppy taste, let alone the layers of the 5 different hops we're going to have. It's quite tasty. Like, you could easily sit on a patio and drink away at it. They do describe it as a session beer, and I think that's only because there's nothing to get bored of. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. One that you can easily just continue drinking.
Yeah, it's not exciting, but it's not offensive. Mm-hmm. And you take that the way you will.
Yeah.
So what are you drinking?
So my second beer is Meantime London Pale Ale. And as I said before, Alex and I have chatted about Meantime previously when they were purchased by Sab Miller. We'd not had a beer on the podcast before by Meantime, and I haven't had a Meantime beer before. But this smells very good. It's very hoppy. It's
got a nice amber color, it looks like.
Yeah. There you go. It's there's not much else on the nose other than just a lot of hops, really. But that's okay.
It looks like medium carbonation.
Yeah, it's not too carbonated. It's a little flat, not massively. It's a nice taste. It's hoppy, not hugely so. It doesn't sort of really hit you like some of the bigger hoppy beers that we had, like the Sriracha Faceplant, which we had in the Witcher video,
which sounded really tasty.
Yeah. It's nice. It's nice. Probably like the Barking Squirrel. It's a very easy beer to drink. Even from the first couple of sips, it seems like something that I could probably keep drinking most of the evening.
So the real question is, how many did you end up buying?
How many did I buy?
Yeah.
1.
So you can't actually drink it throughout the evening.
No, I can't. Both of the, to be fair, both of the beers that I've got are from Marks and Spencer's.
Ah.
Like the food, clothing, human shop that's over here in the UK. Human shop.
I didn't realize that their use of probably illegal labor went too far as actually selling people now. I thought it was more indirect still.
We didn't say that. We don't know anything.
No.
Nobody tells us nothing. But yeah, both of these are from Marks and Spencer's. They've massively, I think, in the last couple of months, just embarked on this quest to drag people who drink craft beer into their stores, I guess, to pick them up. And they've got quite a big selection in the Bristol City Centre shop. And there's loads of different breweries there. They've got their own, or it looks like, I'm not sure whether they own it, but they seem to have some exclusive beers as well from somebody. So they seem to have delved right into craft beer, which is good. It's nice that another bigger player, as well as sort of the other big supermarkets, has jumped on board to be able to sell it, because it just means that it's more accessible to a lot more people.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Question.
Yes.
So I recall the Tesco episode being a little more disappointing than you were sounding now. Is that correct? Would you say that Marks & Spencer has done the craft route a little shrewder?
Yeah, quite possibly. I think with the Tesco's beers that we had, at least one of them was sort of brewed for Tesco's beer.
Right.
And the other ones, I think two of them we had were Sharp's Brew, which is a Cornish brew, which we'd not had before. Whereas most of the beers in Marks & Spencer's are from established sort of craft brewers. And Tesco's had some established craft breweries in there. We just didn't pick those beers. We just went with a different range of beers. You know, I might be saying something completely different had I have picked up the made for Marks & Spencer's beers as such. You know, I may not have been having such a nice experience with my beers during the evening as I am tonight. But possibly a later episode coming up. We'll just do a Marks & Spencer's special.
Unfortunately, we can't do anything like that here in Nova Scotia because you can only go to the NSLC.
Yeah, they don't exist.
Yeah. Although different NSLC locations do carry different stocks of craft beer. Or you could go to we've got quite a few microbreweries here in Halifax a handful, which you can just go straight to. In fact, the Boxing Rock, who I've spoken with I've had 2 or 3 now, they show up to the Halifax Farmers Market every weekend and give samples out, and you can get their seasonals and stuff, and really big bottles of beer, like 1.5 liters, where for really cheap, it just you have to spend. You basically buy the bottle for like $6 or something.
Sure.
But then the refills are like 2 or 3.
That's quite nice.
So once you just basically bring an old bottle in, hand it to them, they give you another big bottle, and you give them a couple bucks, and you're like, well, this was a little too easy.
Yeah, yeah.
Really smart.
That's always nice. Yeah, that's very good. That's very good. So as we're now drinking, I shall
go on.
No. What's the next beer that you're drinking?
My second beer, hilariously, also a Moosehead beer. But in honor of the summer, because it is stiflingly hot here. It's been really hot and sunny for the past week here in Halifax, but now it's just horribly overcast and wet, so it doesn't quite make the patio beer that I planned this for. But it is the Moose Light Radler, which is a Radler for those of you not in the know, / those of you who care about beer tend not to look at this side of the market. It is beer and juice. Not nice. Beer and cider, beer and juice. In this case, it is some lemon juice, some orange juice, and some grape juice in a light beer.
That sounds interesting, if slightly odd.
Wow, the nose is basically like sniffing a lemon.
I know loads of breweries now do, I say breweries, lots of different companies do like Radler style beers. You get like Foster's or Carling and people like that do a Radler, which is, I think as I sort of said, as we chatted about earlier, is possibly just a lager with a little bit of a lemon tint to it.
Yeah,
at least what you get over here.
Yeah, usually I'm used to like fruit beers where fruit has been put into in the mash, or which Alex was here. I don't know what step is the ideal for fruit beers. I do know that the only fruit beers I normally like are lambics, which are which we've talked about before, where the fruit is done start to finish, basically. So it is much more yellow. Yeah, like a Hefeweizen that's sort of very run-of-the-mill, that sort of palish.
Yeah.
I've seen this before, because of course now I'm drinking out of green bottle, but it's that sickly pale yellow color.
Yep.
Smells. Oh, that's what it is. The grape and the orange make the lemons smell a little more like cleaner.
Disinfectant-y.
Oh, there's grapefruit in here.
Good.
There's no beer in here. It is a very tasty, refreshing citrus juice drink, though. It's quite bubbly.
What percentage is it?
4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of booze in there.
Yeah, the Barking Squirrel was only 5. Oh, interesting. So the aftertaste is basically a watered-down grapefruit taste that lingers for less than 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Quite strong for the first couple seconds, and then just sort of disappears. And you're like, what does that taste? Oh, I better have another sip. This is a patio drink.
One of those drinks that you can just keep drinking.
Oh yeah, this is a session like a session to get you in trouble drink. And I say drink because I can't quite call it a beer. Not only because it's not all beer, but because it just has no beer taste. Like they've hidden the beer in the juice.
That's fine. It makes it easier. Makes people buy it more, I would imagine.
Yeah.
You can hammer it back and just keep going.
Yeah, so it's from Moosehead in St. John, New Brunswick.
I don't know where that is, but okay.
Yeah, it is an even smaller province than Nova Scotia.
Cool. Right. I shall chat very swiftly about 3 games. I'm going to blast through these.
Sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, yeah.
We distracted ourselves. I wanted to know the free game of the week. Is it multiplayer? Like, can I compete with you for transport subsidies?
I'm not sure. I would have to look into that further. I've only played the single player game because I've only played a couple. I've only played maybe 2 games of it just over long periods of time. It's one of those games that there is a fast forward button, so you can churn through the months and the years. But it's one of those that you just take over it's one of those relaxing games where you just take your time with it, sort of thing. So I've not really delved into whether there is any sort of multiplayer aspect to it.
I was just thinking it probably wouldn't be. I mean, depending on what the base game was like, but I bet it wouldn't be that hard to do. And I think that would give it a lot more longevity for like revisiting. Although,
yeah, quite possibly.
Having you just reminded me that you sort of set it and forget it style gameplay really changed that, I would think.
Yeah, and I mean, I suppose even though it's an open source game, whether they have servers supporting it as well.
Right.
Because someone would have to pay for that. I don't know whether there's a donating community behind the game.
Oh, but it's an old game. Back when some dude hosted a server and everyone logged on to some dude's computer. And if his connection bogged down, everyone's connection bogged down.
Yeah, very true.
Which wasn't actually that long ago. Like, that's how I played TF2 when it was new. And I paid for it because it wasn't free to play at the time.
I think something like Quake Arena was the last game I played like that, but that's going back a little while now. So, but yes, these 3 games that I have played that I shall very swiftly jump on. Right, the first game is Tetris, and it's a mobile phone version of Tetris, published by EA. And the only reason I played it was because I've been on holiday and I've had a couple of plane rides to play.
Right.
And because it's on a touch-screen phone, it's not quite Tetris in the classic sense. You don't spin blocks as they're moving down the screen. You have a timer, and at the end of the timer, the block will drop into a position, and you use your touchscreen to basically pick which position you would like the block to fall in. You have to do so before the timer runs out, otherwise it will just drop down. It's quite simplified, but it's very easy to keep playing because the timer isn't extraneous. You're not under pressure until you've built up through a few levels, until you're quite far into the game. I mean, one game I on the plane played for 20 minutes. So you get a good amount of time out of it. And if you're looking for something which is free, to play on a trip where where you don't get travel sick, say, and you're able to stare at a screen the size of a mobile phone. It's not a bad little game to play, but it's not classic Tetris, and it's not what I was expecting from a Tetris game, I suppose. The second game is Entwined.
Oh,
which was one of the free PlayStation Plus games last month.
Yes, I have it, but didn't start it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're now listening to this, they're gone. You can't get it for free anymore. It's okay. I
don't even know what style it's. Yeah, sorry.
It's like a twin stick. Not quite an endless runner, but you're basically moving forward as two different entities, and you use your twin sticks to move the two entities around a circle. And there's different bars that you have to hit. There's different gems that you can collect, and at the end of each stage, the two entities, which is a bird and a fish, combine to create a dragon. Because the storyline tells me that they're in love, and that dragons are,
love,
couple's ultimate form. So at the end of each stage, you then fly around a 3D plane, 3D space, collecting gems as a dragon. So it's quite different to what you've sort of experienced in the normal sort of stage. I've not played a huge amount of it. It was something I delved into for sort of a very short period of time, but possibly not something I would go back to. But I think it's one of those sort of Sony-made, Sony-published games that came out a few months ago, which has just ended up on PS Plus because they want to chuck it out to a few more people, right. I think.
See if people talk about it.
Exactly, more exposure, people tell their friends, and try and get it out to even more people. But the game that...
it sounds like it might be one of those perfect games for the Vita, which they gave it away on all three platforms.
Yeah, they did, and it probably would fit very well on Vita. It seems like one of those games. The stages aren't very long. It's something that you could very easily play sort of on the move.
I need to ask you a question.
Yes.
Is there a PS version of Super Stardust?
PlayStation version?
PlayStation 4.
Of Super Stardust, they have... yes, I believe there is.
You need to get that.
I think there was a re-release of Super Stardust, maybe HD, Super Stardust HD, maybe
which is what they called it on the PS3.
Okay.
Thing. That is the most played game on my PS3.
Really?
Super Stardust is by far my favorite twin-stick shooter. It does it all really well. There's just enough. It's easy to pick up, great for multiplayer, but to get high scores, you need to collect those multipliers. You need to plan with your power-ups really well, and you need to get things done quickly. It is extremely hard when you are trying to get the points, but not hard when you're trying to just play. It is a great game.
So there's a little bit of strategy involved in it as well.
Yeah, but it's not. It doesn't prohibit you from playing if you aren't good at it or aren't interested in that much of a challenge. It's a really well balanced game.
Quality, nice.
Sorry, you said twin stick shooter, and I was just like,
yeah. Well, so Entwined isn't a shooter as such. You don't shoot anything. It's just a twin stick movement around a circle, basically, that you're moving forward through. But yeah, the final game, which I'm not really going to talk about, is Journey.
Oh.
Which is fucking fantastic. And I'm not going to talk about it because you should just play it.
I own it.
If you've got any PlayStation platform, pick it up, play it, because it's a fucking immense game.
I've heard nothing but good things. I got it in a used game store in the UK when my PS3 was still in storage. And I haven't actually... I forgot. It's literally in the cupboard across from me, and I just forgot that I had it and hadn't played it. So
Yeah. I mean, it's by that game company who also made Flower.
Yeah.
Sound Shapes. Sound Shapes? No, not Sound Shapes.
I wasn't super impressed with Flower the way some people were. Or Flower or Flow? Flow, no?
So maybe they made Flow. Ooh, they definitely made Flower. which I enjoyed, where you're a petal and you just move across a landscape collecting other petals. But they just seem to create these very experiential sort of games where you at least with Journey and with Flower, I just wanted to keep playing. It's one of those where you get to the end of a section and you just think, I've got to continue. I have to keep going. And Journey's just a game that evoked a lot of emotion. And it was just, it's fantastic.
You've obviously played it before.
Yes,
any notable
I played it on
differences
PlayStation 3.
On the 4?
It looks slightly better. The particle physics work a little more. There's possibly a little more to it, but it's essentially exactly the same game.
Good.
Just slightly up-resed.
Which we talked about before, seems to be, as far as remaking games, seems to be the easiest thing for developers, but also there's a lot of, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the Final Fantasy VII remake news, but it seems like a lot is on the table for change, not just graphics.
Yeah, I have heard things like the battle system.
But like ATB was great. Active Time Battle.
Yeah, it was right for that game.
The techno group ATB was really good in the late 90s as well. Right about the right time period. And I don't know how to feel about that, because I'm really annoyed with people who are like, you can't remake this because some things they're remaking and there's no reason to, and there's no vision on why except a money grab.
Yeah.
But in principle, I don't mind taking an IP, especially when the source is different, which isn't the case here, and just playing with it.
Yeah, completely. I mean, with Final Fantasy VII, they are re-releasing the original game, or they're porting over the PC version of Final Fantasy VII for PlayStation 4. So if you want the original game, that will be available to you at some point to play on your PlayStation 4.
Well, when I just take my original Final Fantasy VII discs that are on the spindle upstairs in my office that I found earlier today and put those in.
Well, exactly, which you can still do because you have a PlayStation 3 which plays those games.
Oh no, I'm talking about the PC discs. I also have the PSN version, which I can play on both my Vita and my PS3. And it only just occurred to me that if I got a PS4, I couldn't play it at all.
Yeah.
On that system.
It's odd that
even the
it doesn't transpose across the PlayStation 4.
Well, PS1 games like that, it's been software emulation since the PS2. I think I don't think they had a chip in the PS2 to emulate PS1. So there's no reason. Like the PS2 emulation, architecturally apparently is tricky because the emotion chip was very unique. Which is why when they first tried, I think I already talked about this before, but when they first tried the software emulation on the PS3 of the emotion chip, it was really buggy. Sure, okay, that's tough, but PS1 is perfectly emulatable. So that's just a money grab at this point.
Yeah, definitely. But then, as we were talking about with backwards compatibility last week, and sort of Sony's stance upon it, it all seems like a bit of a money grab.
Oh yeah, and now that I say that, Final Fantasy VII was such a landmark game in gaming, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And in most other people's opinions, well, most other people's, very small domain. But why wouldn't you charge people because they'll pay?
Exactly.
I have it on PC. I have it on, I have the discs on PC. I have it on PSN, and I have it on Steam because on a Steam sale, I'm like, those discs aren't going to last. Plus, I don't even know where they are. I now know where they are.
Yeah.
But, I would actually have to swap CDs / have a CD drive. Because, the Final Fantasy, old RPGs are really great to play on a laptop.
Definitely.
An underpowered laptop. Torchlight plays really well on my MacBook Air. It's just, it's not a graphical powerhouse game. It's the right type of game where you don't really need a huge screen. I don't use the touchpad. Obviously, I plug in a mouse, and then it's a great little machine for that type of thing.
Nice.
But I couldn't play my FF7 discs on a MacBook Air because there's no seat.
Sure. So, shall we move on to our topic?
Right, yeah. I will say I did mention another game, Antichamber.
Did?
Yeah. I've talked about it before. It's a really excellent first-person puzzler with a gun of sorts, which we can get into. But it's really hard to describe. Easily challenges your notions of the genre and fucks with your perspectives because walls aren't necessarily walls. The path you've taken isn't necessarily the same path, even if you just turn around. Stuff like that, and it's all about trying to... It's basically all the puzzles sort of hinge on you thinking outside of the genre of the box. But I think the best way to do that will be to do one of our last orders, which hopefully will get done later this week.
Yes, definitely. We should do a video on Antichamber very soon, I believe. So, Gamescom is going on at the moment. Microsoft have had their conference earlier today. I managed to see a little bit about it. So we thought we'd chat about our impressions or our what we've taken away from the Microsoft Gamescom conference very briefly. We don't sort of touch upon the gaming conferences too much when we have our topics and our discussions, but because it happened today, we thought we would. Yep. So I'd like to... The first thing I want to throw out there is that Koji Igarashi, who is making Bloodstained, is a crazy motherfucker. He bowls out on stage, cracks his whip, and just chats about his game. It's like, yes, you are fucking awesome.
Yeah, pretty much.
And he originally made Castlevania. He one of the more celebrity sort of developers, I suppose. But Bloodstained, what I've seen of it is looking pretty nice. They revealed a third character type, a demon hunter character, whilst he was out chatting. But it's more him. He comes out in a cowboy hat. He cracks his whip a couple of times. You almost forget about the game. You just sort of want to see a little bit more of him chatting about whatever he wants to chat about, really.
The move of the cult of personality.
Exactly.
It worked for, what's his name in the black turtleneck?
Steve.
Yeah.
Mr. Jobs.
Yeah.
It did. Very much so. And maybe we'll talk about cult of personality on a later episode, because we constantly come back to people like Kojima and stuff and discuss them. But what have you taken from the conference?
I didn't get as much of a chance to... I really wanted to watch through. I think it was very prescient of us to talk about backwards compatibility last episode. Because the backwards compatibility announcement that they made was really interesting. There are games with gold if you're an Xbox Live consumer. Now anything that's given away for the Xbox 360 from now on will, like any games for gold Xbox 360 will be guaranteed compatible with the Xbox One. So
yeah.
The Xbox One people are now getting 2 games a month at least. But the main 2 releases are now going to be playable on their machine, which I think is a really smart move. Because, I mean, as we talked about last week, apparently it's just a rubber stamp by the publisher because they really made the emulator that solid. So now it's like, well, why not just pay it forward? Play the backwards compatibility game to your advantage, because it's not actually costing you that much money.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's probably one of the biggest points to come out of it. Like, I constantly talk about PlayStation Plus and how good I think it is, but suddenly Games with Gold has doubled its value, really. And they might be games that come out that you've already played, or games that maybe you're not that interested in coming from, from 360 and you've already upgraded to the Xbox One, but it just gives you a lot more diversity. It does give you more games to be able to play. So when you come through something like the summer months where maybe there's not a huge amount of games coming out that you're sort of not picking up, there's not these big blockbuster sort of titles coming out, you've still got a massive stable of games to fall back upon and be able to, just clear your backlog as such. And there's lots of, PlayStation did this. There's so many PlayStation games that just passed me by that I didn't have the opportunity to play. So it would be fantastic. So for anyone that has an Xbox One, this is a massive, massive announcement. And for anyone with a 360, it just gives you even more incentive to upgrade and not think that that you're sort of fine on your 360 just playing those kinds of games. So yeah,
I think
that is
we'll
big.
See. If they're saying the fall is when their backwards compatibility comes out, given this announcement, I think they must be lobbying publishers pretty hard for those signatures because I can't remember. Did they say anything about a new hardware refresh?
I think they're bringing out one. Yeah, there's so part of it was it a Halo bundle or
the Halo console
that was coming out as 1 terabyte console.
That's right.
So yeah, they seem to have upped the hard drive as such.
And so the rumor is that there'll be better. That there's a hardware refresh underneath there, so it'll be quieter and run cooler, blah blah blah. Because it's been long enough that both the rumor mill has been saying basically both the PS4 and the Xbox One could easily have a hardware refresh because it's about the right time in the cycle, and it'll be cheaper at this point to use the faster chips because of economies of scale.
Yeah,
and other it'll start to cost more to keep the old chips because they'll be the only ones buying them. So the factories they have to pay for the whole the lines to just make it for them. Versus if they do slightly faster stuff, then they're repeating laptop and desktop peripheral stuff, etc. So that's
quite nice because you always know that they are going to keep up with the market as such. They're not just going to have a chip just made for them. So you know that you're constantly, if you pick up a console 2 or 3 years down the line, you know that you're getting something that is up to speed as such.
Well, yes.
It's built for that time almost.
Yeah, and of course the limitation is you cannot. Even if it's a faster chip, games still have to be made to run on the original console.
Yeah,
I've never had a problem on a PS3 game, but I haven't bought a new one in ages. But I've got one of the original emotion chipped PS3s, and it plays everything fine, but it sounds like a fucking air turbine, and it has always been super loud. But I have an Xbox Slim, and I got used to its span, which isn't that great, I thought, but nothing compares. Nothing compares to you, PS3 original.
Nice, yeah, it is a loud fucking machine,
God,
definitely. But then I understand the Xbox One's quite a loud machine as well. So hopefully, as you say, if they've got a bit of a refresh, they're able to sort of bring the fan speed down, which will hopefully quieten it a little bit and things like that, which just make it a bit of a nicer experience to be able to use.
Yeah, so I'm pretty stoked on that announcement. I think that'll push the. I think that'll might sway people back to buy the damn thing, which means publishers might actually care.
Yeah, definitely,
I think
definitely.
It seems like Microsoft has realized they're not on the same playing field as Sony, and they need to put their money where their mouth is and actually give incentive to get the ground back. They see a huge weakness in Sony in backwards compatibility, and not only are they saying, well, yeah, we've made not only did they put the time in to make sure that theoretically any game can be, but now they're saying we're giving them away, right? Like that's a very shrewd move.
It is, but almost I think the other thing that I wanted to bring up from the conference, which almost goes in the opposite direction, is that they kept they kept saying that a lot of the games that were coming out were both Xbox One and Windows 10 compatible. Yeah. So, in a sense, they're almost saying, well, there's obviously a large market of people with personal computers. A lot of them are going to upgrade to Windows 10 because we're allowing people on Windows 7 and 8 to upgrade for free. Mm-hmm. So people will have Windows 10. So we can either tap into that market, but does that then stop people buying an Xbox One if they know they can also get a game on Windows 10?
I don't think so, because in order to play in order for someone to play a game at the quality of Xbox One, they'd have to have a pimp computer.
Yeah.
Or 3 years ago, pimp computer. Well, 2 maybe. And if they have that, they're not a console player. So that's part one. I would say is the people who they're losing already lost people would be my thing, and also because they're Microsoft, they are part of a larger machine, and that larger machine wants, because a lot of games coming out on OS X now, and because everyone's got the same Intel hardware, and they're actually reinforcing the idea that PC gaming is on a Windows machine.
Yeah, yeah.
The other thing is that this is part of the global Microsoft attempt at retaking over, is they're putting the Windows 10 to a certain extent on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Like the new interface is basically the Windows 10 interface. So they're making it so that your Windows 10 is the interface, right? That you will see on your computer, which means your Xbox will look like your computer, which potentially might mean that people will be less scared to buy one if they're not gamers. And that coupled with the DVR announcement that they had.
Yeah, which is big.
So they're it seems like what they're doing is delivering on the Xbox 360 and PS3 promise of a media box that plays games.
Yeah.
It seems like they're paving the way for, if not intuitive, at least something you'll be used to, because everyone's going to upgrade. Like your enterprise is going to upgrade to Windows 10 at some point, and people are going to get used to that, because from what all the reports are, it is stable, and it seems like it is the next in the generation of, Windows 95, 2000, XP, Windows 7, where all the shit generations no one counts, and these are all the good versions of Windows that everyone eventually adopts to. It sounds like Windows 10 lives in that space. And then if you've got a set-top box video game console that does your Netflix, looks like your computer, probably means you can quickly check your email on it, you can do your YouTube on it, and you can tape TV shows on it. I don't know, I've never used the Windows 10 interface, but it does sound like they're at least attacking that place in the market. I don't know if they'll...
Yeah, definitely. It almost seems to be driving them more towards their original sort of mission statement, and more towards what they originally said the Xbox One would be, until they sort of, they sort of presented it as a media box as such that played games. You'd be able to do all of these different things with film and TV and some such on it, whilst being also able to play games. So it seems a lot more now that they're starting to realise that. Okay, we're 18 months into the sort of the console lifetime, but the same as anything, sort of technologies continuously change and improve. So it's nice to see them progressing, really.
Yeah. So those would be the thing. You'll notice that the things that I was intrigued of from the brief exposures to what happened at Gamescom are almost, they're all conceptual.
Yeah.
I should give a rat's ass about Halo 5. I've played very little Halo in my day. And by that I mean, I think in a friend's apartment in Amsterdam, I played one evening of Halo 3, I think it was, or whatever was out at the time. Never. I played Halo 2 a little bit at a friend's house, but this is my pre-owning a console, can't really look and walk at the same time, and let alone aim era controller.
Yeah. I played a lot of Halo 1, played a little bit of Halo 2, but dropped out after that. And things like the Halo 5, sort of the very awkward and slightly annoying esports slant that they took on it with the shoutcasters being cunts, basically, was a little bit odd and not really something that I was interested in. But, you know, out of everything that we talked about from the conference so far, none of them have really been games. As you say, it's all been more the concepts and the features that they're trying to bring in, and the integration with PC and things like this that seem a lot more exciting than the actual games themselves, what the technology and what the box can actually do, rather than what you're able to play as such.
Yeah, and that's sort of my my worry, is that conceptually this all sounds great, but you need software to back that up. It's all well and good to be giving away games, but like, you're making it easy for me to upgrade from my 360 to an Xbox One, but I'm not going to bother spending any money if there's there's nothing compelling on the Xbox One platform. Unless my Xbox 360 is dying or something.
Yeah, unless it breaks and you have more of an incentive to pick up an Xbox One rather than a new or a second-hand 360 sort of thing, or power cable, yeah. Which you still haven't done, obviously. Nice. Well, we shall finish it there then.
I will say that the Quantum Break game looked interesting. I've only seen a few screenshots. I don't remember what studio it is.
Nor do I. The previous trailer that they threw out seemed very interesting. The sort of time shift and stop mechanics seem like they'd be a very good sort of feature for a game. Whether it goes down to sort of like bullet time sort of mechanics is quite nice. Bullet time is always very good. So
yeah, I'm hoping it's like an actual next gen version of bullet time. When I played Max Payne the first time, it was, holy shit, this is amazing.
Oh yeah.
And it's still basically one of the best implementations of bullet time.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I'm hoping that I'm hoping that the one thing that's really got me curious is it going to, this could be something really unique and refreshing gameplay wise.
Yeah.
Which we haven't seen new gameplay mechanics that are startling in a while.
Yeah, definitely.
So I will say that I really enjoyed Crackdown 1. Crackdown 2 was a travesty and boring.
It was.
Because of that, I have no. I saw Crackdown 3. I'm like, maybe I'll play another round of Crackdown 1. Open my old save file where I'm super powered and annihilate some bosses on hard.
Just smash through it. Yeah.
But like I don't know. Crackdown 2 gave it such a terrible taste in my mouth that I'll watch some gameplay of 3. Because that was one of the first Xbox games where, before I had an Xbox, I was like, man, I wish I had an Xbox.
Yeah.
And
I know Crackdown 2 is sort of a much maligned game, isn't it? It's
yeah, it somehow they made it clunkier. But anyway, yeah. So, favorite beer?
So I think I'm going to go. I had the Camden House Lager and the Meantime London Pale Ale, and I think I'm going to go with the Meantime.
Yeah.
It's very nice. It's very smooth. It's got a nice hoppy finish. It's got a nice hoppy smell, and as a lot of the beers that we sort of pick, I could drink that a lot. I could continue drinking that definitely.
Excellent. It'll be a shock, but I'm going to pick the very inoffensive but not impressive Barking Squirrel Lager on the grounds that it's a beer. And
yeah, not a fruit juice.
Yeah, I will say I enjoy the Radler, the Moose Light Radler. It's tasty. It's just not a beer.
Do you think with the Radler, maybe you've lost, one layer of enamel off your teeth as well? Does it seem like it would be a sugary overload?
Oh, so one of the things I like about it is it's not an alcohol.
Okay.
Like, it's not a Smirnoff, or Mike's Hard Lemonade, or, I'm trying to remember undergrad. Mike's Hard High school. Mike's Hard Lemonade, or Bacardi Breezer.
Yeah, Smirnoff Ice.
Smirnoff Ice, yeah.
Hooch. I seem to remember that was an alco pop of some point.
I don't think
in the UK.
To us.
No.
But yeah, so it's it does taste like fruit juice. I cannot taste the alcohol. It's refreshing. If I was this sweaty under the sun, it would be perfect. But it's not beer enough to be a beer.
Yeah.
In that they're just such different beasts. Like, I couldn't even compare them. So the one that's actually a beer is the beer of the week from Canada. The other one is a good drink if you're on a patio and aren't looking for a beer, but looking to be refreshed.
Nice. After your extended explanation, I feel I should say that the Camden House Lager is very good as well. It was just beaten out by Meantime because the London Pale Ale was just really fucking nice. And as I said, I could probably drink the Camden House all day, but I think I would pick the London Pale Ale, the Meantime, over it. So that is why it has edged ahead very slightly.
Excellent.
So we have been Tanked Up. We are on Twitter at tankedup_cast. I'm at Nova_47. Aadil is
at the Omniarch. That's TheOnniarch.
You can always tweet us, let us know what you're doing, let us know the beers you're drinking, let us know the games you're playing.
Also, you can follow us on YouTube, where aforementioned last orders of Antichamber should be up this week. And we're just Tanked Up Cast.
Yes, we are. We have last week released a Witcher 3 video, last orders video on that, because I've chatted about it far too much on this podcast. So, as with Hector, we thought we'd do a little 15-minute video, so you can head over to YouTube and watch that. We'll hopefully have a few more of these videos up for you, of games that we've chatted far too much about.
Or games that we feel like Antichamber I have only mentioned a couple of times, but I feel like the medium is the message and the medium should be visual.
Definitely. But with a lot of games, it's you almost need to see them to believe them.
Well, like, I can describe Retro City Rampage, and you can kind of picture it. I don't think you can easily picture Antichamber.
Yeah, that's very true, and I think I suppose a lot of things like The Witcher 3, you can look outside, and it looks like that, just slightly computerized. So you don't quite, from the way we're describing, you don't quite get the shadows and the lighting effects and things, and it's not really comparable to a huge amount of games that are out at the moment. So it's always good to be able to actually see what we're talking about as well. So yeah, go to YouTube, have a look at those sorts of things.
And if you feel like not tweeting us, you can always email us at tankedup_.
No, tankedup.cast@gmail.com.
Right.
Definitely. But that's it from us. We shall catch you soon. Laters.
Sounds good. Ciao.